Les, I think you need to unmute.
I'm using my phone this time.
We can see you now.
All right, thank you. I know that there is one life. How often have you said that as part of a treatment? How often have you felt it? Today, rather than doing a reading, I am going to offer the experience of there being one life. As we breathe in, let us breathe in the sense of the all. Let us breathe in the air and know that the air covers all the earth. As we breathe out, let us feel the energy of letting the breath out. And let us know that the energy extends not just to the rest of the world, but out into the universe. Breathe in and feel that the energy comes from the sun and from other stars. Breathe out and know that in spirit, we are one with the all. And that allness looks through our eyes, feels with our senses, hears with our ears. We may feel like an infinitesimally tiny part of it, but we are also its viewpoint, each of us. Know that we are one. Know that we are all. And breathe.
There's a bigger picture than I can see. An invisible hand is guiding me. There's a silent voice from deep in my soul, ever reminding me I am whole.
Thank you, Jackson, for that beautiful reminder. And know that this wholeness, our oneness with the universe, is also reflected in our wholeness as people. That whatever transient conditions we may face, we are one and we are whole. And so it is.
There's a bigger picture than I can see. An invisible hand is guiding me. There's a silent voice from deep in my soul, ever reminding me I am whole.
Thank you, Jackson and Les. That was really good. Really good. So today we're going to investigate this idea of forgiving and living. And one of the ministers in CSL, we have a ministers list on Google where everybody writes little comments and everything. And somebody posted a video that I want to share with you today. And so I'm going to stop this share so that I can find the one that that I want to share with us. And here it is. So now go back here. Okay, this is a YouTube video. So here we go.
Raise your hand if you've heard these quotes. There's no love without forgiveness. There's no peace without forgiveness. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. Yeah, right? When someone wrongs us, we are taught to forgive. As a matter of fact, experts urge us to forgive as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. Now, that's easy to do if someone steals your favorite parking spot, or maybe your best friend cancels a lunch date at the last minute, or your boyfriend forgets to record last week's Game of Thrones. You know who you are. But is forgiveness easy if someone steals your life savings? What if someone beats you in a coma? What if someone molests your child? Then can you forgive? I volunteer my time teaching interviewing skills at a shelter for battered women. And there, those predicaments are not uncommon. I run into women who face horrific sets of circumstances, and they are told the only way that they can find peace, heal, and move on is if they forgive their abusers. And of course, that's hard for many of them. Now, as an actress and a speech pathologist, I'm always questioning the motivations behind human behavior. And one question I've always had is, what motivates us to forgive? Do we have to do it? I mean, let's face it, forgiveness is hard and it takes too long. Why? Because forgiveness is not a natural emotion. Human beings are not born with the ability to forgive, but we are born with the ability to hate. According to Dr. Leslie Greenberg, one of the primary developers of emotion-focused therapy, he states that all of our emotions, including hate, has the ability to elevate our emotional states for the better. So when we are seeking peace, why do we suppress something as natural and as easily accessible as hate in order to do something as unnatural and difficult to obtain as forgiveness? So I contend, forget forgiveness. Harness hate. Then you'll heal, then you'll find peace, then you'll be able to move on. Now, when I told the women at the shelter about harnessing hate, across the board, they all said the same thing. I don't want to hate. And then when they went on to explain why they didn't want to hate, I realized that they were responding to the connotation of hate as a word, not the reality of hate as an emotion. So in order to effectively harness hate, you must understand three realities. The first is hate's true definition. What is the definition of hate? Hate is simply a dislike or an aversion towards something or someone. That's it. Therefore, we all hate a lot of things all the time. I mean, we hate getting sick, right? We dislike getting injured. We hate broccoli. We hate the Kardashians, whatever. But when people say they don't want to hate, what they actually mean is they don't want to be angry. There's a difference between hate and anger. Yeah, the emotions are related, but anger is hostile. Anger is a strong feeling of annoyance. It's destructive. It's characterized by a lack of self-control. Anger lashes out. Hate protects. Anger is reactive. Hate is proactive. Two very similar emotions, but two totally different motivations. The second reality about hate is hate's effect on the brain. The University College London did a study in which participants' brains were mapped with an MRI scanner while they looked at pictures of people they hated. What they noted was that two regions of the brain quickly lit up and became active. The first region is the putamen. Now, that's the region of the brain that dictates the preparation and execution of physical movement. The second region of the brain that lit up was the frontal cortex. That's the region of the brain that dictates critical thinking and reasoning. Hate triggers movement and reasoning. Movement and reasoning, think about that. That's a powerful combination. And in the past, when great gains were made in society, they weren't made because people forgave. They were made because people hated something, and they used that movement and that reasoning to make a difference. The women at my shelter have often said that it was their hate for their current situation that gave them the physical energy and the mental strategy to get out. The third reality about hate is hate's connection to love. Many people think hate and love are opposite, but really hate makes love more obvious. The only reason we hate something is because it threatens something that we love. Like, I hate cancer because it killed my father. Some people hate their jobs because it takes time away from their family. There's a woman at the shelter, her name is Kate. Well, I'll call her Kate. It's not a real name. And she agonized about not being able to forgive her soon-to-be abusive ex-husband. She agonized over it. She hated him. But she tried to forgive. She did all the forgiveness exercises. You know, she wrote a letter to herself and then burned it. Yeah, that didn't work. And then someone suggested that she write, "I forgive" in her husband's name 25 times in the morning and 25 times at night for 21 days. Yeah, right. She gave up that after 2 days. And then someone suggested that she keep a forgiveness journal and write down all the reasons she should forgive her husband. And I said, please, forget forgiveness. Write down all the reasons you should hate your husband. So she wrote, "I hate my husband because he molested my daughter. I hate my husband because he spent the money I was going to use to go back to college. I hate my husband because he put me in the hospital." Now, understanding hate's connection to love, I then asked her to take the second half of that sentence and turn it into a love statement. And she did. So she wrote, "I hate my husband because I love my daughter. I hate my husband because I love being educated. I hate my husband because I love my health." The moment she started saying and writing her love statements, her demeanor changed. First of all, she started smiling. Then her handwriting became neater, her face softened, she looked happy. So seeing that change in her demeanor, I then said, look, why don't you say and write only the love statements 3 times in the morning, 3 times at night for 5 days. See what happens. So twice a day she would say, "I love my daughter. I love being educated. I love my health. I love my daughter. I love being educated. I love my health. I love my daughter. I love being educated. I love my health. By saying and writing those love statements, Kate was forced to focus on what she loved, not what she hated. And like hate, love triggers the putamen in the brain. And the physical act of writing controls the area of the brain that dictates thinking, creativity, and healing. Pretty soon, she didn't have a forgiveness journal. She had a love journal. And it was filled with everything that she loved. And like a schoolgirl in love, she also had hearts and flowers and song lyrics and all kinds of stuff. And she even had plans. So the next time I saw her, she wasn't even talking about her husband. She wasn't even talking about forgiveness. She was asking me about college scholarships. She was asking me about inexpensive getaways that she could take with her daughter. She was contemplating taking a yoga class. So in doing that hate-love exercise that Kate did, hate was used to highlight what she loved. And what you love, you empower. And what you empower, you attract. And that is harnessing hate in a healthy way. Now, my ultimate goal is not to make you not forgive. Don't worry. But I just want to let you off the hook if you can't. Emotional healing is a process, and it requires care and sensitivity. So why insist on forgiving if it's only going to make you feel frustrated and guilty? Remember, forgiveness is a choice, and by definition, choices are options. They're not imperatives. So it's okay if you can't forgive that person who got you fired at work. It's okay if you can't forgive that person who molested your child. But what is not okay is for you to deny yourself negative emotions. Negative emotions are there to tell you something. And when you listen to what it's trying to tell you, only then will they melt away. So the next time you can't forgive, Olivia said, just forget it. Just stop it and harness that hate. And you harness it by acknowledging it, then welcoming it, and then turning it into love. Thank you.
Angelica, it was requested you share the link. I don't know if you can see the comments.
Oh, I didn't see the comment, but I will.
Okay.
Now, how do I get out of this? Oh, bring it down. There we go. Okay. So let me put the PowerPoint back up again. Oh, and it's going to start at the beginning. Oh no, here we go. Oops, wait a minute. I got to do this the right way. Share. Aren't you glad we're so unorganized? I'm glad that you forgive my unorganizedness. So this video, the lady's name is Olivia Porter, and this was TEDx Chicago. It gave me such a new idea about our negative feelings and how I think that in religious science a bit, we're taught to think positively, but we're never really taught how not to think negatively. And as she stated in her talk, in order to let it go, you have to experience it. You have to go through it. And so I wanted to share with you a couple of the things I got. Her 3 things were, 1, that hate is an intense like or aversion, and there's to something or someone. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Her second one was, I thought it was very interesting that they figured out that hate really does affect our brain. One of the things was the putamus, which handles movement, and the frontal cortex, which handles reason. So the hate of something, as she said later on in her talk, has impelled many things to change in our society. Not because we were being positive about them, but because we had an aversion to something. The third one, she said, was we hate things because they threaten things we love. And here, this statement really, I really connected with this statement, because most of us, all of us, want to experience love. We want to feel love all the time. We want to know that love is our true nature. You know, the Course in Miracles says that the only two real emotions are fear and love. And hate comes, that's one of those spin-offs from fear. So even in the idea of fear, we have to look at what we're afraid of and feel it in order to let go of it. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard all the stories about when you're dreaming about a monster chasing you, that instead of running from it, turn and face it. Turn and face it. So, and this whole idea about hating things that threaten things we love. So we might hate politics because it's threatening our democracy. We might hate people that strew their trash all over the place because it's threatening our environment. We might, you know, there's, as I'm thinking about this idea of hate, there's so many different levels of hate. You can mildly dislike something, or you can really hate something. But if we look at it, if we really look at it, we'll see that that hate is coming up because it's protecting, it's threatening something that we love. And the whole idea of forgiveness not being a natural emotion, that was something brand new to me. Because I feel like it's, you know, when we actually do the work and step into this idea of forgiveness, we usually feel freer and more comfortable. And but that's not really because of the forgiveness. It's because we've allowed ourselves to recognize what it is that we're feeling and to let it go. So this, and I love what she said at the end of this. What you love, you empower. What you empower, you attract. So letting go of this idea, I mean, hate is a really powerful word for me. I've always thought about it as the strongest portion of dislike. And I feel like I don't hate anything, but then I do. I hate liver, you know. I really hate the fact that I need to exercise even more than I used to as I get older. But those are light versions of hate. But that idea of embracing that hate and acknowledging that we feel it and then moving through it to let go. And I love the exercise that she had that the women in the shelter do, where she said, write down what you hate. I hate my ex-husband because blah, blah, blah. And then choose to write down what you love. And then just focus on the love. Hate can turn into love as we let it go. But if we're trying to do forgiveness work and we're still holding on to that emotion of hate, that forgiveness work is only going to be surface. And now I have this understanding about why forgiveness comes in layers. That's what I keep telling people. Forgiveness comes in layers. Like forgave my mother, and then something happens and I forgive her again, and then something happens and I forgive her again. And I can remember so clearly this experience of, I was driving to Palm Springs with somebody and we were talking. I mean, we were really enjoying the day. It was a beautiful sunny day and it was a convertible car, and somehow we got on the subject of mothers. And I started feeling this feeling in my body where my muscles were tensing up and my heart was sort of clenching. And I remember saying to her, I think I've just touched on another layer of something that I need to forgive. And you know, it's not necessarily the people. That's what I realized. It wasn't the person that I hated. It was the behavior that I hated and the experiences I had because of that person. So because I didn't let go of that at that time, and because I kept holding on to a little portion of it, then I had to forgive over and over and over again. So I have a feeling that if we take that core wound that a lot of us are carrying around from somewhere, if we take that and we allow ourselves to go into it and see, what is it that I hated about this experience? And we allow ourselves to really feel it and then move through it, we will get to that place of love, because love is really what we're trying to do. Love is what we're trying to experience. And again, she said, what you love, you empower, and what you empower, you attract. So if you empower love, you will attract even more love in your life. And I love the idea that she said, not only hate affects the brain in those two areas, but so does love. And then she said the process of writing affects another part of the brain, the logical part of the brain. So, you know, this is a whole new way to experience forgiveness. And talking about love, Dr. Holmes says, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel that it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole. So even in those places and those experiences where we experienced hate, the love never died. It cannot be destroyed. It's still there. But in the process of hating, we abandon love. And then we feel like it's abandoned us, or we deny it. And the one way I'm seeing now is to really go into this feeling that we had and really dive deep into it and understand it, and it will transform into love. I love this picture. I don't even know who said it because my little screen things are here. Oh, doesn't say who said it. But when you forgive yourself, you are truly loving who you are. All of us are moving into this wonderful place of self-love. And it's a place that we go to by degrees, moment by moment. And I have a feeling that if we really look underneath why we haven't forgiven ourselves, and then let ourselves feel that feeling, we'll be able to truly love who we are. And one reason is because we'll remember that who we are is divine. Who we are is an individualized expression of the one. And the truth is, we've been that all along, but we've covered it up over and over again with other feelings. That's one of the reasons why I'm interested in looking at Brene Brown's book about all these feelings. More and more, we're getting to the place where we're going to be able to just be who we are in truth. Letting go, investigating and letting go of those things that we hated, allowing ourselves to move back into love. And that is truly forgiving ourselves. You know, there's something about the science of mind that we need to remember. This is not a learn it in one class or even all the way through the ministry classes type of teaching. This is a teaching that is constantly calling you to open up, constantly calling us to look and see what we've attracted in our lives, recognizing that we're the one that's projected that out there, constantly calling us to love ourselves more, to let go and be in the present moment. It's a constant education. I mean, I would think that, you know, I've been in this teaching for over 40 years, and yet still I'm learning stuff all the time. And for me, it's so interesting to notice how one thing after another shows up around something that I need to do. And I know that's happening for you as well. And the fun part about my job is that I get to share possibly how we can do it. So when you forgive yourself, you're truly loving who you are, and who you are is spirit, 100%. And spirit has never forgotten that. So let's say this affirmation together, and then we'll go into treatment. Allowing forgiveness to flow through my very being clears any malintent and surrounds me with the peace that passeth all understanding. And we thank Claudia for doing the affirmations this month. So take a breath and allow yourself to come fully into your body. I know that sometimes when you hear things, at least for me, I hear a talk and my mind goes off in different directions because it's attached onto something that I've been thinking about. And so then I move out there and I forget. Be present in this moment. And so in this moment, as we allow ourselves to breathe ourselves back into our bodies, we acknowledge all of our feelings. We recognize that there's only this one life, this life that is a divine life, that has all the attributes of being human in it. And feelings are part of being human. So I know without a shadow of a doubt that each one of us is working through our own feelings, that we're allowing ourselves to acknowledge them, to work through them if need be, and to allow ourselves to come out clear on the other side, totally aware that who we are is a divine being, and that divine being is the energy of love. And so I celebrate love and all of its many facets. I celebrate knowing that absolutely everything is here for our further education. I celebrate knowing that who we are is enough. And that as we move into our own challenges, as we move into our experiences, we allow ourselves to remember that this too is God, this too is good, this too is for us, for me. So I know that absolutely underneath every emotion I could possibly have, there is love. And I let love come to the forefront. I do so by letting go, just letting go and being love, the highest form of the divine I could possibly be. And I rejoice in this. I rejoice in my being able to choose love. I rejoice in being able to choose to let go. I rejoice in being able to live fully as the divine expression that I am. And so I do let go. I let go and let God, the force, the universe, divine, whatever I choose to call it, move in and through me, helping me do everything that is necessary for my highest good and the highest good of everyone around us. And knowing that we are all beings of love, I see us emanating love out into our world, out into our communities, out into our state, out into our country, out into every country on this planet, out into the planet itself. And I know that love is the greatest healing agent there is. And so I celebrate this. And I release these words into the law, knowing that they are already done. And so it is. I have another piece of music for us. So let me make sure that it is where it is supposed to be, so I can share it. There it is. There's green. Anna Hamilton is doing our music this morning.
This song is called I'm Sorry, and while it's about apologizing and asking for forgiveness, over the long haul of a lifetime of asking for forgiveness, I've actually found it's more about forgiving myself, or forgiving yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. But not with bad for treating you wrong. You know it's not funny. All the things I go through, learning to fly, learning to love you, and I really do. I really love you, baby. I'm just learning to fly, to love you. I love you. I'm just learning to fly, to love you, to love you, to love you, to love you.
Hey, thank you, Anna. How